Well, there ain't no time to wonder why.
Whoopee, we're all going to die. All right, folks. We have a true info warrior, youngster who educated himself and then took the initiative to educate others, Robert Wanek, on the line. Robert, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good. Yourself, Jason?
I am doing good. For people not that familiar with you, why don't you tell them how you awoke to 9/11 truth, and then the incident with your, I believe it was your senior photo, correct? Or not your senior photo, but your class photo.
Yeah. Well, basically the thing that made me wake up to the globalization and the whole power structure as a whole was school itself, and the hit pieces our science class would run on September 11th. Our science teacher would show hit pieces on the physics of 9/11, but I saw through them eventually and did my own research and came to realize the truth about 9/11, which led me to realize the whole truth about the New World Order and how schools are used as a tool to craft our minds into the New World Order. And as soon as I started becoming aware of this stuff, I started bringing it to school in a nonviolent way, in a non-aggressive way, not getting in the way of any learning. Like one way was I wore a 9/11 Truth Now shirt for my sophomore photos, and the principal decided that he would go out of his way to call the photo company and have them Photoshop a black shirt on me so that no one would be able to see my 9/11 Truth Now shirt. And that's just one of the various methods they use to stifle dissent in the school. Like, they don't want you to express yourself through your clothing, and they definitely don't want you to express yourself through your voice. So that's just one of the many things that's happened in the indoctrination of school that I attend.
Yeah, now most people would have just taken it and laid down and said, I don't want to get into any more trouble, I don't want to get on the radar. You took this directly to his attention and said that this was unacceptable, correct?
Correct. First, we attempted to call him ourselves, me and my parents, because luckily enough I have my parents fighting on my side with me, which is an advantage. But we called him and left messages. He didn't reply, so I decided I'd make a video about it on YouTube, showing my censored photos, showing my 9/11 Truth Now shirt, and just basically telling the story. And I put the school's number up so that supporters could complain and attempt to get the original photo published. And it led to the publication of the photo after he'd gotten thousands of phone calls and hundreds of letters. It led to the publication of the photo in the yearbook.
It shows that, you can have an effect if you do speak up and say that, you know what, I'm not going to take this. I do have a First Amendment right. Just because I'm a student doesn't mean I'm a slave. However, with this new GIVE Act, they are literally trying to indoctrinate students into servitude with 50 hours of community service each year for middle schoolers. I mean, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's actually pretty scary. What they're saying now is you can really compare this to like the Hitler Youth Brigades and what Obama's trying to implement now. Basically saying you have no choices, and they're trying to lay it down on us as a way to help the community and help the country, as if we're doing this as some sort of, is like the GIVE Act, when it really should be called the Student Slavery Act or the Youth Servant Act. They're trying to sugarcoat it as some kind of good thing, and
they try to associate it with Kennedy, and it's great for the country, and we're all going to rise up, and we're going to help each other. Meanwhile, the rich are going to get rich, the poor are going to get poorer, and we're literally going to become more slave-like than we have in over 100 years, a century, folks. It's the Info Warrior with Jason Bermas. We'll be back with Robert Wanek after this.
They acting out of order like a pack of rabid wolves. They lambs for the slaughter. Crush your mandible, rip the drums like animal. Eat them seeds, they my own kind. I'm
a cannibal. All right, folks. We are back. It's the Info Warrior with Jason Bermas. We have Robert Wanek, a 9/11 Truth activist, on the line, and much, much more. I mean, he's talking about what this whole process is bringing about. A police state, more control in the schools, more control at homes, people losing their jobs, people losing their houses, people losing their cars, losing their way of life. And, it just amazes me how brass, some of these officials, authorities, principals act. They think that they can get away with anything. And, one of those stories that we covered last week, thanks to you, Robert, you sent me a video of a school principal taking a child and slamming him. How old was this kid? What was he, 14 years old?
Yeah, well, the kid was a 15-year-old, not sure what grade level, but he was a 15-year-old high school student.
Yeah, 15-year-old high school student. He gets asked to leave class because he's using his cell phone. Now, everybody's got a cell phone, and, whatever. If the teacher wants that policy, that's fine. He can ask the kid to leave. But the kid wants to go back in to get his raincoat. The principal clearly has an umbrella because it's raining out. No, kid, you can't get your raincoat. You can't get your coat. You're not allowed. And all of a sudden, he tries to push the kid, grabs the kid. The kid just tries to give him one of these get-off-me's, and all of a sudden he's picked up, slammed up on the ground, picked up again, and then slammed on the ground again, correct? Can we pull that video, guys? I forget what the title... Oh, here it is right here. We're watching it as we speak over at prisonplanet.tv. Here's the kid approaching the principal, trying to get his coat back. The principal has a green umbrella, and it's like, tough luck, kid, get out of here. I don't like your face. And the kid's like, really? I can't get my coat? Please, sir, may I have some more? And he's like, you can have some more. You bet you can. And he just runs up right on him. Here he comes. Boom. And slams him. One. And here it is right here. He's got the grab, and there's the a boom and a boom. And, there should be a huge amount of outrage about this, but, people think they can get away with anything. They have this mentality, I have tenure, or I've been at this school for 20 years. I run this show. I run the program. How many times do you have to hear that from your teachers, Robert? I remember when I was a kid, and especially in high school. I went to a much smaller high school. I only graduated with about 55 people. But all the time, these egomaniacs, I run this school. You don't tell me. It's absurd how these people act towards other human beings.
Absolutely. Like, you'll hear, I'm the teacher. I make the rule. You don't have choices. Just being that we're a student, their teacher, we have zero choices. We still have rights, whether you're my authority or not. I still have rights. And the principal will be going around talking like he said before, I don't hide behind an amendment to get what I want because I'm the principal. I don't have to. Well, doesn't mean you can strip my rights away just because you have tenure and you have a little bit of false sense of power. Because last time I checked, it was we the people, not we the authority figures or we the superiors.
And I just want to, bust the myth that teachers are some kind of like special human being. Folks, a lot of my friends are teachers, and I can assure you that they are no better than anybody else, no smarter than anybody else. Most of them, listen, I'm not saying that there aren't teachers out there that are caring and intelligent. There are, obviously. You know what I mean? But on the other hand, they're just like, these are the same kids that were helping me crush a 30-pack of Beast Ice when I was 19 years old. You know what I'm saying? These guys aren't any different. None. These are the same guys. Yeah, these are the same guys that trolled the streets of Water Street, at 2 a.m. after the bars closed to try to, pick up whatever chick they could. These are just people. And I know that, when you're a youngster, you look up to some teachers. You think that, they're so educated or they're so smart or they've got it all together. Folks, I'm here to tell you they don't. Not that, my friends who are teachers, so they're some of the best friends I have. I'm about to go to a wedding. I think it might even be around the 4th of July weekend. I know that we're going to try to do INFOWARRIOR Independence Day. If my wedding is on July 4th this year, at the last wedding I went to, one of my high school friends, I gave her a stack of about 12 movies, all of my pictures, most of Alex Jones's pictures, and some others. And she ended up calling me up that night, after we had all left, and the next night, after we had all left, and said, I just saw your gift. I think it's great. I also gave her money or whatever, but her and her family sat down and watched Loose Change Final Cut, and she texted me about 15 minutes into it, and she's like, oh my God, we're all just sitting here totally silent. I can't believe this. And this was somebody who worked for George Pataki for a time, So, I just want to let people know people are people. just because they're a teacher doesn't mean they're smarter than you or better than you or, more reserved than you. Like, who knows what they're doing in their personal life? It does not, just because you're a teacher, it does not give you the right to put your hands on a student. It doesn't give you that right. This isn't the 20s. This isn't the 30s. This isn't the 40s. All right? This is right now. And for this guy to slam this kid, it is just another example of disgusting power trips that go on in this country. This is a small one. I mean, we went over a story yesterday, Robert, where a 73-year-old man in Louisiana was having a cookout barbecue with his entire family, I believe 7 of his grandchildren and 6 of his great-grandchildren. And he was shot in cold blood by 2 officers under no provocation. I mean, this is America now, man.